needs enemies when you have friends like Logan Paul? So last time we talked about Logan Paul, he was busy doing crypto scams, taking millions of dollars from his loyal fans that he still has not paid back till this day. But it turns out this man is such a scumbag that it's not only his viewers and fans that he treats like absolute dirt, but his closest friends as well. So if you guys didn't know, Logan Paul has a podcast with Mike Majekalak and George Janko. Now, basically, Mike is the guy that you can never really hear talk because his mouth is always stuffed with Logan's nuts. It just seems that he's gargling on them balls 24/7, but George was the only guy that actually had a bit of respect on that podcast and was actually honest. Now, it turns out there was an episode of the podcast with comedian Bobby Lee, after which George Janko actually quit the podcast and he started his own successful podcast called The George Janko Show. Now, pretty much everybody thought that the reason George quit was because Bobby Lee made fun of him and George was a wuss who couldn't take a joke. But now, after all this time, it has come out that Logan Paul actually edited the podcast specifically so that George, his close friend, would actually look bad. In reality, what actually happened was, allegedly, George was sexually assaulted by Bobby Lee, and Logan was blackmailing the ever-living shit out of him behind the scenes. So here's a quick clip of George leaving the podcast.
He is clocked out.
Yeah, I know. George has been under a tremendous amount of abuse. No, stop, George. I want you over here with me. George, I want you over here with me. Chase him down. Go. You find him. George, no, go get him.
So after all this time, the truth is finally revealed in George Janko's latest podcast episode called Confronting Mike Megasimp. Now, just a quick note, I'm playing the clips in a little different order just so you guys have the context first, otherwise you'll be a little confused.
He started the episode putting his balls in my face. I let that one go. Then every 2 seconds, he kept grabbing my dick.
I don't think...
How would you feel if a man that has his back completely towards you, that only turns around to grab your dick,
right,
talk shit to your face, and you can't smack or beat the living brakes off of this guy? Because Logan makes me apologize to this man, or I don't have a job on Impulsive anymore. How fucking crazy is that?
I don't think I understood. I can only speak for myself.
Bro, it's not a group chat.
I hope you can understand
it's not a group
that.
Chat.
No. I'm talking about during the episode.
So allegedly, Bobby Lee over here grabs George's PP multiple times, talks shit to his face, and Logan and Mike actually make George apologize to him or he loses his job. Now, I didn't really think that I could hate Logan Paul anymore after, I don't know, the Japanese forest, after the crypto scams, after just all of his performative bullshit, right? But covering up an essay and blackmailing your close friend, holding his job over your head, I feel like at this point, Logan Paul has sunk to the absolute depths of the human race. I pray the internet can actually, for once in their life, come together and cancel this motherfucker. But honestly, I blame KSI, that absolute numbskull, doing business with a deviant just because he makes him $1 billion with Prime, man. All these degenerate freaks, soulless, disgusting, Hollywood-esque motherflippers, all sell their souls for money. It's crazy. Also gotta address Bobby Lee, of course. Apparently everybody loves this guy for being a funny comedian, but I don't know, man, if your joke is grabbing someone's dick repeatedly and, you know, just disrespecting them to their face, I mean, this is not much of a joke. This is literal harassment, especially if he's uncomfortable with it. And, you know, if you think that's a funny joke, then, I don't know, replace George with a girl. Can you just grab a fucking girl's private parts? Like, I'd love to see how that joke goes, right? Definitely wouldn't be rotting behind bars for sexual harassment over there. And I don't know, man, some people might be like, oh, it's just guys being guys, but I don't know. I wouldn't want my flipping dick getting grabbed by some random stranger while he's talking shit to me. Dude, that's just no. I remember actually watching the clip and it was really odd, like why George suddenly got pissed and was just like walking out of there. But now it all starts to make sense.
Yeah.
Okay, the Bobby Lee situation.
Who was the first person that jumped off the couch and said, George just left, that was not good, we have to fix this situation?
But did they not cut shit that you should have stood up for me and said, hey, you can't cut that shit? That's gonna make him look like an idiot for leaving.
Okay, let's slow down, and I'll answer that. We have always cut. This is all healthy, by the way. We have always cut.
Start crying.
No. Which by the way would be healthy. We have numerous times on the show, which I'm sure a number of shows do, cut things that we believe will protect the integrity or reputation of the guest.
That protected nobody. but him.
No, of the guest. That's what I'm trying.
Well, what about the guy that you break bread with, bro?
Wow. Okay, this is absolutely pathetic. So this reject and his master, Logan Paul over here, you know, constantly claimed to be the #1 podcast in the world, Impulsive, you know? And when behind the scenes, they literally have zero integrity. They just admitted to regularly cutting out portions of the podcast to appeal to their guests while simultaneously betraying their closest friend. I mean, I don't know about you, but when people watch a YouTube video or a podcast, they assume they want, you know, the full truth of the situation. You know, they don't want just like what's good PR and you cut out everything else or the actual substance of the episode. Now, obviously not talking about the essay. That one you should just scrap the episode instead of editing out that part and then humiliating your friend online like that, right? But it's clear they do anything to suck up to Logan or any of the guests or whatever and maintain, you know, good relations or whatever. It's just a web of lies, in my opinion. And honestly, what you did to George was just unforgivable, like covering up an essay and making him look like a tool in front of millions of people just because you wanted the favor of Bobby Lee is unbelievably disgusting, and it's betrayal of the highest level. You might as well sleep with his wife and piss on his mom, because the amount of humiliation that George had to go through for quote-unquote not taking a joke was insane. And I can't believe that Mike Megawuss actually admitted to this shit. Like, I really feel so bad for George. It's good for him that he actually quit that shitty podcast and started his own shit. Logan is clearly a disgusting vulture that cannot stand his good friend succeeding, and it gets much, much, much worse. There's so much that goes on. Like, I highly encourage you to stay to the end of this video because the amount of shit you're going to discover is crazy. Now, this next part, Mike, as usual, plays PR for Logan, saying that, oh, we removed stuff for you, George, as well, when obviously it's not the same.
But we removed a number of things that you said on the podcast.
Name one.
Well, no, I'm not going.
Booty, bro.
No. Do you want me to? There was something that you said on the laser beam episode.
What laser beam episode?
Do you remember laser beam in Australia when we did that episode? I'd rather not say. I can tell. Why don't I just tell you?
Just tell me. I'll beep it.
You said something about like laughing at a girl getting hit in like a parking lot. You saw like a fight.
Yeah, I just said the joke wrong.
No, I understand that, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, I didn't sexually harass somebody, man.
I'm not. Listen, I'm not trying to die 1-to-1. I'm just saying we.
But you, okay, Mike. If this was an episode that was you, and what happened to you, and then the whole world thinks that I walked away because I can't take a joke, that's
This guy is so spineless. It's absolutely insane. Your close friend is telling you a story about how you hurt him and you nearly destroyed his entire reputation, and here you are, still latched on to Logan Paul's milk maker. The only relevance this guy had was being Logan Paul's lapdog and dating a porn star, both of which no respectable man would do in a billion years. You're a pathetic husk of a man with zero backbone, zero opinion of your own. All you do is play PR for Logan, even when he spits on you and thinks of you as a subclass human being. And he's shown that he'll betray his closest friends for nothing. And yet here you are, by his side. Disgusting.
But after the episode, do you remember when you called me? And I said, Mike, this is all that happens. And you said, verbatim, you said, it's our fault for not telling you this, but me and Logan are really the ones who should be talking to the guest. You are really there for a boys only episode. So while I get sexually harassed, my other co-host is trying to fire me, and you're trying to leverage me to be quiet during other guests. And then on my birthday, you guys shot 3 episodes, so I couldn't show up.
I just think
on my 30th birthday, you shot 3 episodes. Bro.
I think
that's crazy. It was on the calendar for months.
I think by the time we got there was so much like confusion and
look at him try to think of any excuse to justify how horribly they actually treated George over there. You literally told him to just sit there and not talk to any of the important guests, you know, just like I don't know, a showpiece or something. That is so degrading. And it's ironic considering George is 10 times smarter than both of these losers combined. It's crazy that they wanted to silence him because they thought, you know, they were the stars of the podcast or whatever. But if they are the superstars of the show, then how did George just leave the podcast, make an own successful podcast on his own, and now everybody likes George more than both of them? And can I just say, what great friends. You know, who really needs enemies when you got friends like these guys, okay? They filmed 3 episodes on his birthday so that he can't show up. What kind of bullshit is this? Listen, these are 3 grown men. If you don't like him and you don't want him on the podcast, instead of, you know, continuing to pay him a salary and continuing to have him on as the episodes, maybe just, tell him to his face that, hey, this isn't working out, and, let him go or whatever the hell. Instead of scheduling shit around his birthday, like, what are you, a mean high school girl or whatever? Like, I don't know. I've never seen that movie Mean Girls that everybody says, but this seems like this would fit, okay, in that movie or whatever. Now, as I mentioned, Mike is a professional PR guy, but not just for Logan, but also for himself over here. For the only time he'll ever criticize Logan is when he has to save his own skin. Anyways, Mike tries to say that Logan's the bad guy, but, I was always there for you, George. I was still a good friend when, obviously Mike has supported every single one of Logan's decisions.
Was because I was always the one that was there. I was always the one standing up for you.
The last straw for me was, Mike, I had to escape. I had to leave for my own fear. When Logan came after me for my religion, the show hit rock bottom and we weren't getting paid. I was getting paid $5,000 a month, and that's covering just Reed. I have a mortgage. I have my sister that works for me. I have Belle. I'm trying to get married. I had all these things. So I had to start my own show because we're not making money on this show, and I'm getting pushed out of this show.
Well, at the time, we weren't making money. You made money on the show.
Okay, so a little context there. So there was another drama with Logan. Basically, Logan would constantly mock George for being a Christian and having faith in God, which is crazy. If your close friend has a religion he believes in, you don't disrespect that, especially not in public on a podcast. If I remember, he was just saying that Christians are homophobic and you're part of a cult, and because you're part of the cult, I can't forgive you or whatever the hell, when George has never been homophobic or any of these things. So it's just weird. You're just stereotyping everyone. It's like saying if one white person shot up a school that all white people do that. Like, what is this brain dead logic here? You're stereotyping. Now, if you thought it couldn't get worse, you probably didn't see the length of this video. So for George's salary over here, that part, right? So apparently Logan Paul was out here texting George that he's making $11 million in 2 weeks while paying him just $5K and having him endure this humiliation. And when George tries to leave and make his own money to, pay his bills and, support his family, Logan Paul again pressures him to not take sponsors because they compete with Logan. What a slimy snake of a human being. By the way, just fucking texting your friend or co-host or whatever the hell that, oh, I'm making so much more money than you is so disgusting, bro. I can't.
But when I got pushed out and I'm seeing that I'm getting pushed out and I start my own show, do you know what my final straw was?
What?
I got my show going, and then not only was I controlled and pushed around on Impulsive, but then Logan's making calls and directing my show. And I'm saying, hey, man, you can't tell me what to do on my own show. That's not okay.
What was that about?
He told me that I couldn't take Celsius. And then I said, hey,
man. He didn't tell you that you couldn't take Celsius.
Messages.
No, he didn't tell you that you couldn't take Celsius. He
says if I take Celsius, I'm not a part of Impulsive.
Then he told you that if you take Celsius, that you cannot continue to be on Impulsive, which is the core driver for Prime, as you're going to continue to funnel viewership from the Impulsive show back to your show, which promotes a competitive product. Yeah. He also told you that if you wait 6 months after the deal's done, you're more than welcome to rejoin the show if you need to make money.
But they're always trying to find a way to push me out.
Okay, Mike, I feel like at this point you should just come out as Logan Paul's lawyer. It's crazy how much bullshit this guy will say if it means protecting Logan Paul. Now, clearly what happened here is Logan has been paying Mike's salary for so long that Mike is just tethered to him like a conjoined twin. Logan Paul could assassinate Mike's entire family and Mike would probably kiss him on the lips. He'd just turn gay for him because thank you for murdering my entire bloodline. It's lovely. Also, we gotta just talk about the greed of Logan Paul. This guy is so money hungry. It is absolutely insane. Everybody was so confused, Prime is now worth over $1 billion, right? That's literally how much it's worth now. And it's crazy. So Logan Paul has essentially infinite money and people are like, oh, he just has to pay a couple million back to the CryptoZoo victims, right? For the scam he did. And people are so confused. Why doesn't he just pay a couple million back? It's literally nothing for him. It's pennies for him, right? And this is the reason. He is so incredibly greedy and penny pinching. It is absolutely insane. So George Janko promoting Celsius should not be a problem at all. It's just Logan hates to see his friend succeed because he's so greedy that he wants to take every single dime of that money. And all this bullshit of like, oh, it's a competing product. That's complete bullshit. Like, it's not gonna affect Logan Paul's sales or whatever. Dude, you're worth $1 billion. Like, how much more do you actually need? It's crazy, man. He just wants to sap every last cent for himself when he's already worth $1 billion. How do you turn out like this? He's truly succumbed to greed.
I don't.
You know what he told me? When I told you know what I told him? I think that was this is a guy who's this is a guy who's sending us screenshots of $11 million a week that he's making. Okay, and on top of that, we never got any money from Prime, and we own that show. So technically, we should have gotten a percentage of that. I never asked for it like the way you did. I stayed the fuck out of it. I didn't care because I'm grateful for what I'm making. I'm gonna go start my own business. I will take half the deal that Celsius gives me, half. If you want to put it on the table for my show, a quarter. Work with me. He says, I won't pay you a dime. You're here because of me. And then I said, well, what do you want me to do for my bills, bro? I got no money. And he says, go have your rich dad pay for it.
Listen,
that's fighting words, bro. Look at me.
No,
that's fighting words, bro. You don't bring up somebody's father.
Would you say that the way that you handled it from a word standpoint was mature, acceptable?
What did I say? That I beat the fucking brakes off of him?
Correct.
If he was in front of me, I would have swung at him.
But that's what I'm trying to say. We were at a point where no one was speaking properly to each other. And the only person, and George, and the only person probably that was the calmest out of the three, I sent you a very nice text message.
Thank you, Mike. Oh my God, you are doing God's work. Guys, Mike sent him a text message while Logan is railing him from the behind. I'm sure that text message really lubed him up, dude. Thanks. Here's a question for you, Mike. What is a text message going to do after Logan Paul is actively fucking him in the ass? Oh my God. Logan Paul here is sabotaging his sponsors, and George even gives him, he's like, okay, fine, I won't take the sponsor, whatever. Just, pay me the money instead, right? It's a fair deal, whatever. But Logan Paul's greedy ass, making $11 million in 2 weeks, cannot spare a couple thousand for George. That's actually what close friends do, guys. They sabotage business prospects. They shit talk you on podcasts. They cover up essay, and they twist stories to humiliate you in front of millions of people. And then when you try to leave them, they still try to bring you down in whatever way they can. That is a best friend right there. But don't worry, guys. It's all okay, because Mike Megamind Moron sent a text to George, a sweet text saying, George, you're a good person. I actually love you, George. That fixes everything. So I assume this is what the text message read, right? George, hey George, I'm a professional fence sitter, Mike Majak here, and I actually like you, even though I support Logan destroying your life. That's basically it.
Please,
Mike, you went to Celsius to try to get my deal. Called me right after you called them. You never called to check in on me. You never called to see. I texted you. No, you didn't. It was after you went after the deal.
And by the way, I wasn't going after the deal.
You did.
I was going after the contract to bring to Logan and say, beat this with Prime, please.
Do you hear yourself? I wasn't going after the deal, guys. I was just going behind your back to take your money away from you, because I'm mad you left our show, but I'm still your best friend. I'm definitely still your best friend. I think just stop at this point, Mike. This isn't Logan who will pay you minimum wage to just rub his pee-pee. This is someone finally standing up for themselves, and you seem to not be able to take it. Now, Mike gets a little bit butthurt over here because George rightfully called him a shit person.
I told you you're a piece of shit. Everyone knows it.
Yes.
You need to, but dude, I meant every word of it.
That's crazy.
No, I'm not.
That's crazy. That's insane.
If you fell out and you started doing scummy moves to your friend, I called you out on it,
But I didn't do anything.
Bro, not you, not Caleb, not Kevin, not Dylan. Nobody fucking called me when I got fired. Not one person called me. You know what I get a call from? Logan saying, at least Mike wouldn't do this. And an hour later, calls me and they say, hey, he's trying to get this deal.
But you know why I was trying to get the deal.
I get it. It's money. But why
No. This business and friendship thing is very hard to navigate. You're an incredible fucking human being. I love you and I wish nothing but the best for you. And your response to that really hurt me. I'm here to say that today on the show. It
Mike,
hurt me.
Your actions hurt me every day.
But what actions?
The fact that you would stand up for me on camera and then as soon as it cuts, being like, I'm gonna look so good that I stood up for you. There was intentions behind it, bro. You never cared.
Oh, so you're now saying,
man, the audacity of Mike over here to act offended. I can't believe you hate me after I backstabbed the ever-living crap out of you with my buddy Logan. I can't believe you said I'm a bad person. I'm actually offended. I'm actually so hurt by your text over here. Dude, you were actively sabotaging him behind the scenes and doing the dirty work. Like, you were the one taking the contract and sponsors and money away from him. This guy's like a ChatGPT AI program two-faced mother flipper. The patience of George is legendary here, okay? I'm not even like a physical confrontational type of person, but if this yapper was in front of me, you know, after backstabbing me, talking to me like this, dude, I'd be throwing some punches, all right? And this next part makes it very clear where his loyalty lies. Basically, George just asks him, is it fair what happened to me? And let's see what Mike Majakalak says.
Do you think what I went through was fair?
I think it's complex. I think, bro,
crazy, Mike. I wouldn't put my own enemies what I went through, bro.
I think I'm gonna be honest with you, or I'm gonna be honest with you. I think more than anything, it was a culture fit problem.
It's complex, guys. It's a culture fit problem. Dude, imagine having some dude grab your dick and going through all this bullshit, right? And then this guy's like, well, actually, it's a culture fit problem. How is it a culture fit problem to have a guy just fondle your private parts, and then when you have a problem with it, your boss threatens to fire you, and then manipulates the video to make the harasser look good, and you look like a fool? This is actual A-grade gaslighting over here, okay? And not like the bullshit Twitter gaslighting. And this is actual manipulation over here, actual gaslighting.
And don't think I didn't see you guys take my name out, and you guys shadow banned my name. Fans with screenshots, shots of them trying to talk about me, and you guys were banned my name.
Because we probably didn't want that conversation over fucking hauling the entirety of the show.
But also, it's like, bro, I walked away without saying a thing, and you guys were on the podcast saying this gets no views.
I said that?
When you guys talk together and you're clipped together, you guys, he's not talking to the wall, Mike. He's talking to you.
But
and you were like, and I know
I think
you were.
I think the biggest takeaway from this entire exercise today or conversation. What?
No, I just think it's just funny.
Well, I also just spilled water all over my.
Okay, what was that? I don't even know if that was a cut or was that actually Mike just completely changing the topic and addressing nothing. Wow, this guy's a master. Wow, he's learned well from Logan Paul over here. Listen, if I had any advice for George over here, ditch this man and never look back. You already ditched Logan. Great job over there. Never talk to them again, and God will reward you. Okay, you know, you left their podcast, you got your own business. He's clearly making more than $5,000, but brother is swimming that money right now, as he deserves. Okay, he was a talent that was being suppressed by Logan Paul. And let me just say, Logan Paul's demise is coming sooner or later. If you actually do believe in God, then God is always watching. And if you believe in karma or whatever, Logan Paul is so beyond screwed because of all the bad shit he's done. You know, it'll get to him eventually. Now, this next part, Mike basically admits that even he has been railed by Logan Paul a bunch of times, and you know, it's just not fair. You know, Logan Paul's not the type of guy to do a 50-50 split or anything like that. He's more of like a 95-5 because his ego is massive, right?
God bless you for that emotionality and having that emotional intelligence that was called into question. God bless you for it, bro. You have to shed some of that, certainly, to be in that space. Yes, shit gets said to me. Yeah, I feel left out of shit. Certainly I fucking do, and it pisses me off, and it makes me frustrated and saddened.
Yeah, it pisses me off that Logan Paul pisses in my mouth, but you know, it's Logan. I'll drink it up like some lemonade, baby. Anyways, that's basically it, guys. Sorry for the wait, but we back, baby. We back.